All right, let's transition, guys, to the Redskins, who had their first full squad practice in the spring. I guess it was that considered an OTA? Last week.
Yep.
Same day, the Redskins decided to start a Twitter campaign in response to Senator Harry Reid's calling for the team to change its name. They used the hashtag Redskinspride. It backfired. Mike, your thoughts on whether the team right now at this moment is closer than ever to changing its name based on the recent PR flap?
Well, PR flap or not, I think that eventually the name is going to change. And it's been a slow and regular drumbeat for the last year and a half. The interesting thing is the three largest things to put this thing on the rails, to me, is Robert Griffin III turned into a superstar and the franchise mattered again and people started paying attention to it in a new elevated state of American consciousness, I guess, in sports. Two, the owner said never. Once you say never and put it in caps, you're basically putting your chin out there and say, I dare you, hit me. And you're making people on the fence go, wait, he's not even talking to these people? And three, between the code talkers on the field, the Original Americans Foundation, and this Twitter campaign, you're your own worst enemy. If you want to keep the name, just shut up. Say, we're going to keep the name. We respect that people disagree. We're going to keep the name as long as we legally can. And shut up and do your charity work underground. That's all you need to do.
Dan, you were all over this on the Bog, obviously, last week. What are your thoughts?
Ultimately, I think it's interesting. I'm fascinated by the entire story, and I will keep writing about it even though people want me to stop. But I don't think this really is going to affect much because I don't think this is an issue that's going to be decided by public opinion. I think it's an issue, and I think Mike and I maybe disagree a little on this. I think it's an issue that will be decided when economic reasons force someone's hand, if that ever happens. And I don't know that it's a lot easier to make fun of something on Twitter than it is to mount an organized boycott or to put any kind of serious financial pressure on the team. I'm not saying that couldn't happen one day, but I don't think that the fact that people are tweeting about it like this means that's any closer. I think that they're hurting themselves in the court of public opinion to the extent they care about that. And maybe they don't at all. And they would say, maybe people in California are making fun of us, but people who live in Woodbridge and Prince Frederick they support what we're doing.
This is the problem. I don't think you play to your middle. You don't play to your base in this one.
Well,
you've already got your base.
Right.
You want to play for that middle ground. And to me, there are a lot of good fans in this town that have almost gone on the other side and said, you know what, this thing's too much of a distraction. You can sense it when you read the comments on his blog that there are really people that are just fatigued over it. And they're just like, I'm tired of the name, I'm tired of the money we're spending on it, I'm tired of the people. They're talking about putting a press conference together tomorrow where they bring out family of the people who made the logo to say, hey, look, the Native Americans made our logo. Like, you're gonna pit Native Americans against Native Americans? Like, it just, at some point, just say, we're gonna keep it as long as we can.
Right, and then shut up.
We don't care about
it.
anybody else.
LeVar, your thoughts?
I think it's all details.
Mm-hmm.
I think all the conversation about it is just details.
Is it closer now than ever before to changing?
Details. Details meaning until there is something that truly, tangibly takes place with this whole thing, it's just going to be the same seesaw, yo-yo act every single year in and year out. I say if you break down to the bare minimum of what the name is, you know what the name is, you know what it says. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to know what the name says. But that doesn't mean that for all these years that people haven't paid attention to the fact that this is a football team and this is its name, and it's been other teams that are named that. So you're talking about a social conscious of what's taking place. For me, do I think it's any closer? I think it's on people's radars, but Dan mentioned boycotting. Like, the first thing I think about is an organized boycott when Rosa Parks refused to move and black people organized and stopped riding those buses. Stop going to games.
Right.
Stop covering them. Stop doing things that will impact them that way, and then you get change. Will that take place? Honestly speaking, from my opinion, I don't think that there's enough real outrage for fans to stop buying tickets. I don't think there's enough outrage for fans to stop supporting this team. And unless something like that were to happen, it's not going to change.
Well, I would say
Last thought, Mike.
just social change forces economic change. And what you saw with what happened with Donald Sterling, and NBA players as a whole decided that we may turn our backs on this game if this isn't taken care of. If that ever happens, and some guys have some social conscience beyond what they have already, I think you might see a change.
It's easier to take aim on a singular entity, a person, than it would be to take place on what would be considered an institution,
A franchise.
Great point.
a franchise.